So one of my favorite country artists is named Shooter Jennings, and he had one of the greatest lines that I ever heard. He said, "Your heroes turn out to be assholes, and the light you're chasing in the tunnel is a train." And I think about that line. It goes through my head, especially in 2025, and especially when I see people who I looked up to just go right out there and sell their souls. And when I saw this, I immediately thought, well, your heroes turn out to be assholes, and the light you're chasing in the tunnel is a train. I love Shooter, but I really hate that that lyric had to come true on this one, because I can't count the times that I have sat here and I have played you Bill Burr clips, and I have said that Bill Burr was the George Carlin of his era. Well, the George Carlin of his era is now taking Saudi blood money to go perform in Saudi Arabia. And no, I'm not making this up. I'm going to read you this article. It turns out at the moment we still have Marc, Maron, and a few others, but this one is not easy for me to read because I love Bill Burr. I have a lot of respect for Bill Burr as a comedian. I think he's one of the greats. There's other comedians on this list, too, that's going over there to play and perform, and they give their reasons. But this one is truly a hard one to follow, folks. So here it is. We're reading this one from the New York Times. Marc Maron and other comedians rebuke peers in Saudi festival. The state-sponsored comedy festival will feature Dave Chappelle. Well, he let me down a long time ago. Pete Davidson and other top acts. Human Rights Watch says the event aims to obscure the country's abuses. So Marc Maron, Shane Gillis, and other top comedians have openly criticized their peers for participating in the Riyadh Comedy Festival, a state-sponsored event in Saudi Arabia that Human Rights Watch have said was designed to deflect attention from the country's brutal repression of free speech and other human rights violation. Maron, the host of the WTF podcast, questioned how the event would be promoted. Would it be from the folks that brought you 9/11? He said, 2 weeks of laughter in the desert, don't miss it. Saudi Arabia, an ally of the United States, is an authoritarian monarchy known for limiting free speech. And unfortunately, we live in a world where now we're seeing our free speech limited here. For more than 2 decades, it has been the center of a continuing legal battle in which survivors of the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks, victims' relatives, and insurance companies accuse Saudi government agents in the United States of having provided an essential support network for the hijackers. In 2021, the Biden administration held the country responsible for the killing of the Saudi dissident and Washington Post columnist in 2018. The 7th anniversary of his death will occur during the Riyadh Comedy Festival, which began on Friday and will run through October 9th. The event is billed as the world's largest comedy festival. It will feature more than 50 international comedians, including, I don't know how to pronounce that dude's name, but then we got Hannibal Buress, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Jessica Kirson, Andrew Schultz, Pete Davidson, whose father was killed in the September 11th attacks, is also scheduled to perform. Representatives for those comedians did not return requests for comment. I don't know what the hell they would say to this, really, other than we sold our soul. But the event is the latest push to advance Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan. So we have 2025, they have 2030. I mean, so crazy the parallels here, which was outlined nearly a decade ago by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The plan aims to diversify Saudi Arabia's oil-rich economy to areas like technology, culture, and sports. Representatives for the Saudi government did not immediately respond to requests for comment. In the past, Saudi officials have said that organizing international events is part of an effort to expand leisure opportunities for young Saudis. Tickets to some of the comedy sets sold out days in advance and to stimulate tourism spending rather than attempt to improve the country's international reputation. So Maron, who has said he has not been asked to perform at the festival, suggested that the comedians were being paid by the same person, the Crown Prince, who approved the killing of the journalist. And then so Maron says, it's kind of easy for me to take the high road on this one, easy to remain your integrity when no one's offering to buy it out. Gillis, another stand-up comedian, said on Matt and Shane's Secret podcast, the show he hosts with Matt McCusker, that he has taken a principled stand against the event after organizers offered him significant amount of money. You don't 9/11 your friends, he said. After comedian Zach Woods took a satirical approach, name one comedian who hasn't whored himself out to a dictator. So dropping on down here, a Human Rights Watch group that investigates and reports abuses around the world called on participating comedians to use the festival to publicly urge Saudi authorities to freely, unjustly detain Saudi descendants, journalists, and human rights activists. Comedians receiving hefty sums from Saudi authorities shouldn't be silent on prohibited topics in Saudi like human rights or free speech. Everyone in Riyadh should use this high-profile opportunity to call for the release of detained activists, said Joey Shea. The comedian Tim Dillon said recently on his podcast that he was fired from the lineup after he joked about Saudi Arabia's poor human rights record. I addressed it in a funny way and they fired me, he said. This is the first time that I've been fired by people that actually do really bad things. Dillon said last month that the festival organizer had offered him $375,000 for one show and that others were offered as much as $1.6 million. They're paying me enough to look the other way, he said. I've been paid a lot of money to not care about what they do in their country. Shea, the human rights researcher, added that if comedians did not speak out against the Saudis' abuses, they would risk bolstering the government's attempts to launder its image. The whitewashing comes and significant increase in repression, she said, including a crackdown on free speech where many of these comedians defend, but people in Saudi Arabia are completely denied. So, I am a huge fan of comedy. And I know how they're going to try to spin this that, well, we were trying to take our comedy into places and reach people, and comedy can win people over and blah, blah, blah. But are they really going to go over there and do an uncensored, unleashed set on that bloody ground? Are they really going to do it? I highly doubt that. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they know deep down if they tried that, they wouldn't be coming back home. And so to see comedians sell out like this, especially now when we need so many people to stick together, that article didn't mention Bill Burr. I would really love to hear that he walked it back and didn't go, but I had heard that he's going along too. And he is someone who has set and called out the billionaires. He is someone who has set and called out the genocide that's happening around the world, happening in Gaza. He's set and called out so much and been on the right side of the argument so many times that to see him take this blood money is truly disgusting. And I'm a person who I don't just blindly follow after people. And I may do a video on someone and say, this person right here absolutely knocked it out of the park. Everyone go listen to what they had to say. But then if they turn around and sell their soul, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I can't defend this. And this is one I can't defend. This is one that's truly disturbing, and it's hard because I do believe comedy can bring people together. I do believe that comedy can make people think. And a lot of the comedians that are going are people that have made me think in the past. But to go into that and to try to sane wash and normalize what they're doing is really no different than the comics you then turn around and criticize for doing the same thing for Donald Trump. You're going to sit here and you're going to throw, I've seen people throw stones at like the Theo Vons of the world. You're really going to sit here and throw stones at Theo Von and Joe Rogan and then turn around and go over there and prop that up and normalize and same wash that? You can't have it both ways. And I did see, this is off subject, but I did see a disturbing video of Theo Von, who I will admit has made me laugh quite a bit. I think the guy's funny. I think he's on the wrong side of a lot of issues, but he has made me laugh right in my gut. And I saw him doing a show where apparently he bombed at the show, and then he walked up to the fans afterwards and was like, hey, I'm sorry, but I've been trying not to end my own life. That really got to me, because I know that all of us are going through some hard shit, and whether we agree or disagree is kind of beside the point. I don't want to see the dude end his own life, so I doubt very seriously he'll ever see my video. But I would talk him down off a ledge, because I've been on that ledge. And if you're going to sit back and throw stones at people like him and Joe Rogan and then turn around and go over and whore yourself out for Saudi Arabia, you just need to shut the fuck up. And that's just my take on it. I really I hope that some of these comedians would not go along with this, but I don't know if they would ever be able to give me a reason enough that I would go, yeah, that was cool that you did that. I think sane washing and normalizing authoritarianism is what's wrong here in this country, and I sure as hell think it's wrong for Americans to go to one of the most disturbing. I mean, that's it. I mean, for years we've known what Saudi Arabia was all about. We've seen everything they've done. You're going to take that blood money in the name of free speech? I feel like they're sane washing the whole thing, and it's truly sad to see. I hope some of them dials it back and don't go, but I guess the ones that are there, we know now where they truly stand, and it's going to be really hard to take them at any face value when they come back home and go off on a rant about billionaires or free speech or criticizing Theo for having Trump on his podcast. Y'all could never throw stones at him again if you're going to go over there and perform for that garbage.